it's Kate, and today I'm going to be talking about my favorite books of 2017. These are books that I read in 2017, not books that came out in 2017, because I'm pretty sure none of them came out in 2017, maybe one of them. So I really didn't read much at all this year. I think I read 19 books in total, which is pretty bad for my standards, but I still read things, and I still enjoyed many of them, so that's all that really matters, is that you enjoy what you're reading, and you're enjoying reading. That may sound like the same thing, but I meant them as two separate things. So because of that, I only picked 7 books. I only picked 7 books as my favorites, because I don't know, if I pick 10, then it's wow, that's over half of the books I read this year. So yeah, I just picked ones that I really actually enjoyed, and I think are true favorites of mine now. First book I have is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I love this book so much. I don't know, it's just very special, I think. I think that the setting and the magic and just the whole feeling that you get while reading this book is very unique, and I think that that's what I'm gonna remember about this. I love this book because the characters were pretty good. I don't think the characters were really my favorite part of this book. My favorite part was the setting, the magic, and the mystery, I guess. The next book I have is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I read this for school, but I loved it. I don't know, it's very easy to read. It's not a very hard classic. It's not really that classic. Well, I mean, it's classic in that everyone knows it, but not in the writing style, I guess. Anyways. The ending of this book really surprised me, which I'm not going to spoil anything, but I had to reread it a couple times to make sure I wasn't reading wrong. But I mean, in retrospect, I probably should have expected it, but I really didn't. But that's a common theme. I just think that this book really stands as a statement to society in the 20s and social, the social context of that era, and how people were very reserved in their speaking, and they didn't always say what they mean, and things were very covered and just unknown to other people, and people just they were not open and honest with each other. So I just think that this book is a very interesting representation of the time period of the 20s in New York, and I really loved it. The next book I have is A List of KJZZ by Robin Monroe. I think this one actually did come out this year, so that's one. But I love this book. I think I didn't actually give this 5 stars, give it 4.5 stars, because some of the parts I didn't really, I wasn't engaged with the writing, but because it started out kind of slow, but it's worth it. Once you get through the slow part of the beginning, the rest of the book has so much meaning and quality material that it's worth it to get through the slow part. This book, it's a tough one to get through. I'm not sure if it's a spoiler to say really what it's dealing with, but it's it's a tough issue, and it's dealt with very well. But this is just a very unique book in that it's showing how this boy feels having to hide things from people, and having to hide how hard his life is, and also not knowing that his life is hard, not knowing that other people have it better than him, and feeling that his situation is normal and it's not, and it really draws attention to how these things become normalized when they shouldn't be. So yeah, I don't really want to spoil anything, so I'm gonna stop talking. I love this book, and I think everyone should read it. The next book I have is The Regan Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. This is one that everybody talks about. Everybody's like, oh, I love The Regan Boys, I love it so much, and I was like, wow, it's probably gonna be something I love, but I don't know, I just never picked it up. But I did one day, and it was really good. I read this really quickly, actually, which is surprising because I've been reading things pretty slowly this year. But I just really enjoyed it. I really liked the characters in this book, and characters are always my favorite part of every book. If I love the characters, I am most likely going to love the whole book. No matter what happens or how stupid anything is the characters make it worth it. And I think this book was definitely the case with that, because each character is so unique, and even the main character is unique. I don't know, she has her own kind of uniqueness and spunk to her, and I like that. I haven't read the rest of this series yet. I really want to. I just kept on getting like distracted, and I've been reading like other books and then just forgetting to go back to it, so I'll go back to it at some point because I know the rest of the series is good and I want to know what happens. I really, really do. Like at the end of the book, oh, the end of the book got me. There's this thing, I'm not gonna say it, but like it surprised me, and yeah, okay, I'm so bad at spoiling, so I need to shut up all the time. The next book I have is Everything by Nicola Yoon. I love this book, and I know that basically everybody read this book this year because the movie came out. Which I know you just read the book just so you can go see the movie, but it's better than watching the movie and not reading the book, right? So this is just a really, really fast book to read as somebody's going down the stairs. So I'm sure that you've probably heard this is a very fast-paced book, and it's just something you can read in a couple sittings, and it's not going to take you long at all. And I just really enjoyed it because, once again, I didn't see anything coming, and so the way that the story went took me by surprise again. Those are the best books for me, the ones that just hit me out of nowhere, and I never see it coming. I never do. I suck at predicting things. I really, really do. Anyways, this book was really good, and it was a very unique idea that, I mean, I wouldn't have thought of it, so go you, Nicola Yoon. I want to read her other book now, so I'm excited. The next book on this list is Dash and Lily's Book of Dares, which I just finished reading a couple weeks ago, and I loved it so much. I really didn't expect to love it that much because I've read something else by David Levithan. I read Will Grayson, but that's what he co-wrote with John Green, and I thought that book was good, but it didn't blow me away by any means, and so I went into this book thinking it was going to be kind of the same thing, like a book co-written by David Levithan and a different author. Like, it's probably going to be like the same thing, right? That was my thought process. But when I actually read it, I was very pleasantly surprised because it's a contemporary, but most contemporaries don't have as much compelling aspects to them as this one did. In my opinion, the characters were much more developed than most contemporaries that I read. These characters actually had, like, they had distinct personalities, which I think is probably because, if you don't know, in this book, the two protagonists, Dash and Lily, they communicate through a journal, and they've never met each other in person. They communicate through a journal and like swap it at different locations and stuff, which is, by the way, a very cool concept. I don't know how did she come up with that? My friends and I are talking about how like now we want to go and like put a notebook in Barnes & Noble and see who finds it, but we're not going to do that because it's not going to work out like it did in the book. But anyways, yeah, they communicate through words and not through anything else. And so I think that because they communicate in that way, you feel much more connected to them because what they say to each other is much more meaningful and not at surface level. So it's very interesting, and I really, really enjoyed the differentness of this book. That's not a word, but now it is. Finally, my favorite book of 2017 is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. Of course. So, if you didn't know, A Court of Mist and Fury is my favorite book of all time. And, yeah, nothing's gonna change that. So, of course, I read this. Of course, the next book. I kind of knew that there was a low chance that it was going to be better than A Court of Mist and Fury for me, which was true. I was pleased by the way that things turned out. If they had turned out any other way, I probably would have cried. Well, actually, just kidding. I did cry. I cried like 3 times in this book. I actually cried in the happy scene. When the characters like reunite, like some certain characters at one part, I started crying. Like, I just started crying. It's not even that far into the book and I was crying. So, yeah. And that was only the first instance, so I love these characters, and I love the story, and I love the world, and I could read it forever and not get tired of it. This is my favorite series, and it's not technically over, even though this is, like, the last one like this. She's coming out with more, and I don't really fully understand, like, what they are. I just know they're from, like, a different perspective, but they have the same characters. Yeah, that's all I know. Those are all the books that I extremely loved. That's bad grammar, I think, but those are all the books that I really, really loved in 2017, and I don't know, I'm just really happy with that I read these books this year, because I didn't read anything that I hated this year. Like, even the things that I gave like 2 stars, I still enjoyed parts of them because they had quality to them. Like, every book has, well, most books have some type of merit to them, and they have a reason that they are a book. And so I like to find that in every single book. So these are just the books that really, really stood out to me and made me think a lot, or just I love them. Thank you for watching this, and I'll see you soon. Bye!